In the cold, moonlit nights of siege, an eerie transformation would take place within the castle walls. Elizabeth Bathory, the infamous Blood Countess, was rumored to have delved into the realm of the supernatural, becoming a creature of darkness, herself a vampire. Legend spoke of an ancient and cursed bloodline that ran through the Bathory family, a lineage tainted with vampiric powers. It was said that a pact with dark forces had been made centuries before, granting them unnatural abilities in exchange for an insatiable thirst for blood. The elders of the village whispered tales of unholy rituals and shadowy creatures roaming the night, preying on the innocent. When Elizabeth was initiated into the mysteries of her family's vampiric legacy, her insatiable thirst for youth and beauty was heightened to an unimaginable level. As the moon rose, a darkness would consume her, and her elegant visage would contort into a fearsome and otherworldly expression. She would venture out into the nearby villages, accompanied by her loyal servants, who were themselves devoted to the darkness that enveloped their mistress. Under the cover of night, they would hunt for victims, innocent young women whose blood would supposedly grant Elizabeth the immortality she so desperately sought. The castle would become a den of horror, where the blood-curdling screams of the victims echoed through the haunted halls, and the walls seemed to ooze with the sorrow and suffering of the slain. Elizabeth's vampiric powers granted her strength beyond mortal limits, and she would drain her victims with almost supernatural precision, leaving them weak and lifeless husks. Over time, the villagers became more terrified than ever. A sense of doom hung in the air, and some believed that Elizabeth was not only a vampire, but also a siren, capable of luring men and women alike to their doom with her bewitching charm. Yet, as with all who tread the path of darkness, Elizabeth's actions would eventually lead to her downfall. The king's investigators, having heard whispers of a vampiric presence in siege, arrived at the castle under the cover of night, armed with stakes and silver crosses. Their confrontation with Elizabeth was as harrowing as it was legendary. The Countess, once a picture of beauty, was now a grotesque and bloodthirsty fiend. She fought like a cornered animal, using her vampiric strength to fend off the investigators, but they were relentless in their pursuit of justice, with stakes driven through her heart and silver chains to bind her. Elizabeth Bathory was subdued. Her reign of terror had come to an end, but the legend of the Blood Countess, the vampiress of siege, would continue to echo through the centuries. The castle, now devoid of the malevolent presence that had haunted it, fell into disrepair. Local superstitions warned that the evil within those walls could never truly be extinguished. Some claimed to see flickering shadows moving along the corridors, while others swore they heard the distant wails of the Countess, yearning for release from her eternal curse. As the years passed, the memory of Elizabeth Bathory's reign of terror faded, but the stories endured. Folklore surrounding her vampiric nature was woven into the fabric of the region's culture. Mothers used her name as a warning to keep their children close, and travelers passing by the castle would quicken their pace, fearing the spectre of the Blood Countess. But the legends were not confined to the village alone. Scholars, historians, and enthusiasts of the macabre would delve into the chilling tale, seeking to separate fact from fiction. Some claimed that Elizabeth's story had been embellished over time, transforming a cruel noblewoman into a monstrous vampire. Others believed that the truth was more disturbing than the legends themselves. A few dark theorists suggested that Elizabeth Bathory had indeed possessed vampiric traits, but not in the supernatural sense. Instead, they argued that she might have been afflicted with a rare blood disorder that caused an insatiable craving for a human blood. This condition, coupled with her vanity and thirst for power, could have led her down the path of wickedness and cruelty. Regardless of the origins of her blood craze, the castle of siege remained shrouded in mystery, and the legend of Elizabeth Bathory, the Blood Countess, lived on. Each generation added its own twists and interpretations to the tale, crafting a web of horror that ensnared the minds of those who dared to listen. Today, Sieged Castle stands in ruins, a haunting reminder of the darkness that once thrived within its walls. Tourists and ghost hunters alike are drawn to the site, seeking to feel the lingering energy of the past and to catch a glimpse of the elusive vampiress who had captivated the world for centuries. The legend of Elizabeth Bathory, the Blood Countess, lives on as one of the most enduring and chilling tales of horror and depravity in history. Whether she was a vampire, a siren, or a victim of her own desires, the memory of her blood craze continues to send shivers down the spines of those who dare to whisper her name in the moonlit nights of Siege.